Equivalent fractions are fractions which look different in that they have different denominators, and they will have different numerators too, but they are actually the same fraction. They show the same amount. We need to work this out, and there's a couple of ways that you can do this. On this example, it says which shape shows half shaded. Well, first of all, if we have a look, we can find that there are a total of 4 parts, which is our denominator, and there are 2 lots of those shaded. On shape B, there are 3 parts with 1 part shaded, and on shape C, there are a total of 4 parts with 3 parts shaded. We need to find out which of those shapes shows exactly a half. First of all, we can discount shape B straight away because a half and a third are never going to be the same fraction. We could then look out for clues. If we transferred this over here, then we would see that those 2 parts are now shaded, and this would become unshaded. So there are 2 parts shaded, 2 parts unshaded. That means that if we then decided to take out this line, that would become 1 part, and the other would become the other part. So the shapes would then move to 1 part shaded and 1 part unshaded. Another way of looking at it is that if this number here is half the value of the denominator, then therefore it is indeed the same as a half, whereas 3 on this one is not half of 4, so therefore this can't be the same as half. This question asks you 2/8 is the same as 1 what? In this case, we're trying to find an equivalent fraction because they want them to be the same. So if we look at here, we need to find out what's happened to the number. Or what happens is, to get from a 2 to 1, you have to divide by 2. So therefore, whatever happens to the numerator happens to the denominator. So we then have 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 2/8 must be the same as 1/4. We can check this back by actually doing the inverse, the opposite. So what do you have to do to 4 to make it into 8? Well, you have to times by 2. What do you have to do to 1 to make it into a 2? Well, you times by 2. So therefore, because you are doing the same to both the numerator and the denominator, that must be an equivalent fraction. That's an important point to remember, is that when you are finding equivalent fractions or when you are simplifying, you can only ever use the operations of times or divide, and whatever you do to the numerators, you must do to the denominator also.